Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every day, practically at this stage. If you could head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button, drop a like on the video, and joining me as always, my partner on the Monday Mash, our resident referee, Mark. How are we?
Hello, cuz. I am good. How are you? Especially after yesterday.
I'm really good. I couldn't have asked for a better weekend. I was hoping City might drop a few points. It was a tight game, and we'll talk about that. But it's always a good thing when Liverpool are picking up silverware and United are losing. That's an ideal weekend for me. It doesn't get any better than that.
The
Only a
less said
lottery
about the
win.
latter, the better.
Only a lottery win beats that for me. Yeah, but yeah, we'll get into this. Good bit to talk about. Some interesting stuff coming out of Man United as well. We'll talk about that in a bit, and obviously some breaking news coming out of Chelsea as well that they're considering Amaran as a potential replacement for Poch if they decide to push the button. I would think a loss to Leeds during the week and coming out of the FA Cup would probably decide his fate. I would
Absolutely.
imagine. But we'll talk about that. We have an FA Cup preview as well, Marky. You get the preview games as well as review this week. So,
Love it.
all good. And we can tell you now at the moment, West Ham playing at home to Brentford in a massive game for both teams. West Ham on a real poor vein of form. And Brentford looking over their shoulder, no doubt, at the relegation thing, especially with the news of Everton getting back 4 points today. And we'll talk about
Yep.
that as well. But it's currently 2-1 at half time. Two quick fire goals by Jared Bowen on 5 and on 7, and Maupay on 13. Making it 2-1. No doubt Lucas Paqueta making a huge difference there back in it tonight. Let's get into the chat first. Daz is there. Big up, Daz. What's the crack at Niall and
How are
Mark?
you,
Oh,
Daz?
good. How's the head, Daz, after celebrating? Happy man, happy man. And David's in. Big up, David. Evening, lads. How are we? We're all good. Hope you're good
Go
too,
on
my
the
friend.
cause.
There we go. And Baz is in as well. They're all flooding in now. Evening,
Jesus, how
lads.
are you,
What's the crack?
Baz?
Baz was in with me today. And
Hey.
we said goodbye to each other outside the shop at about 4 o'clock. And I said, "Sure, no doubt I'll see you later. Evening, lads. What's the crack?" That's what I said to him. And he said, "Yeah." And we both
Love it.
started laughing. So good
Go
fun.
on the Baz.
Big
Love it.
up, Bass. But before we get going, Marky, of course, Hogan Elite Trophy Hire is the sponsor for the Monday mashup this season. Give us an update. Give them all the info.
Yeah, still taking bookings, lads, by the week. And yeah, again, appreciate if you go over and give the Insta a follow, give the Facebook a like, and spread the word. Loads of stuff, like I said, come up over between May and over the summer and stuff like that. So yeah, keep on the socials for all the upcoming stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Any chance I could book the Carabao Cup for the next year?
Hey, have it in the
Right.
shop. We can organise something. Don't you worry.
There
Don't
you
you worry.
go. There you go. There you go. So we'll keep an eye on the West Ham game and bring you all the updates on that as well.
And
Make sure.
Coventry are beating Maidstone 3-0 as well at the minute.
Oh, very good. That's an FA Cup game, is it?
That's FA Cup. Ella Sims
Yeah.
got a hat trick, so first half hat trick. So Coventry,
Absolutely.
I was hoping Maidstone might get an early goal and make it tie it, but Coventry have been playing well over the last few weeks, particularly obviously Ella Sims up front and stuff. So, but yeah,
Dare
3-0 at
I
the minute.
dare I say the championship sides this season could be very dangerous in the FA Cup. I was looking at it earlier today. Some
Absolutely.
tasty toys coming up. But first of all, let's get through the slog of this Premier League review at the weekend. And we started off, of course, at Villa Park with Villa and Nottingham Forest. A game that seemed to be wrapped up pretty quick. I would have thought after 39 minutes,
Yeah,
but that wasn't the case. Two quick fire goals
but
from Forest.
it's
Um,
one of the lads I know, Philip. He's a Forest fan, but his friend is a Villa fan, and they were both over at the game. So he's sending me a few pictures and this, that, and the other, and
yeah,
we were chatting away. Obviously, I was sitting here watching the United game and stuff, but he said that obviously the goal before half time for Forest gave them a little glimmer of hope, but in the second half, he said Villa just completely outplayed them. They were walking through them, and I think we've seen that over the last few weeks with Forest. People are walking through them and getting them from set pieces and stuff like that. But listen, look at the job the Emery's done at Aston Villa this season. They've been absolutely unbelievable. Watkins, Louise, Leon Bailey's been unbelievable. And at
Diaby.
the Abbey as well. But listen, at the moment, like I don't think anyone can take that last Champions League spot or the 4th Champions League spot away from Aston Villa. Like, at the minute, the way they've been playing consistently over. Now, I know there a few weeks ago, they 2 or 3 games where they're a bit. That's going to happen over the course of a season, but I think they've been absolutely excellent. Like you talk about probably Klopp and Guardiola for kind of manager of the year and stuff. You have to look at Emery and in particular as well, Gary O'Neill, who we'll talk about in a few minutes. But I thought it was an unbelievable performance by them on Saturday.
Aces reckons more straight going mental after Alex Iwobi winning. And Romy One Kenobi is in as well. Big up, my friend. Thanks for joining
How's
us
it going,
again,
man?
as always.
Aces,
Big
right.
Ray Al fan. Ray Al fan in the house. There you go.
Oh.
Brighton won. Everton won. Everton thought they had the 3 points in the bag. Brighton down to 10 men. A horrendous tackle by Billy Gilmore. A moment of stupidity. But all of a sudden, 95th minute, Lewis Dunk.
It's mad, isn't
Gets
it?
the equaliser.
And can I just say one thing? Like, you look at Pascal Gross and what he brings to that squad, that team. Like, without him, they are a different team. And obviously, Dunk at the back and coming up. Doesn't he look a bit like Kurgan from back in the day? The attitude there.
He does, yeah. He does.
I was just looking at him the other day, going, he just popped into my mind.
I actually had Pascal Gross in my goal scorer bet for Beat the Bookie last week.
Okay,
I put him in as a 7-2 shot.
Like, he's probably, like, I wouldn't say underrated, but like, he doesn't get talked about enough as a lot of other players in the league. I thought he was excellent for them on Saturday. Just when he has the ball at his feet, particularly with 10 men, it's very hard to play an attacking game against 10 men. But when he had the ball at his feet, you just thought something was going to happen. And of course, they had the opportunity before Dunk's goal where there was the corner and it came in and there was a bit of a pinball around. You just felt Brighton were going to equalise and it finally came for them, And I think it was a well-earned point for them,
Yeah, absolutely. I've always said the best managers in the world, football, in my opinion, is Carlo Klopp. And even though he is a Barca legend and I hate him, but Pep is there too. Absolutely. Look, you can't exclude what they've done regardless of the money that's been available. And listen, and at the end of the day, everyone talks about Pep and all this money and what's happened at Man City, and rightly so and stuff like that. But listen, Carlo doesn't very often go to poor teams either. He normally has his fair share of wedge there to be successful as well. And long may it continue and stuff like that. Perfect 10 for Liverpool League Cup final wins, aka Sean Spears. There you go, the perfect 10. Absolutely. Let's get into the next one then. Palace 3, Burnley 0. We didn't see this coming. Glasner's first game.
Yeah, but the sending off changed the game, didn't it? I don't know what Trafford was doing. It was a terrible ball to play to Brownhill, putting him under pressure like that. I don't think the referees got any other choice to send him off for what was it, the 12th minute or something like that, or was it
35th?
35th, sorry, yeah. But again, you look at Palace. If Elise and Eze had been in the team, it could have been 6-7-0. That sort of way. It the amount of chances they created. Listen, it's again, like I said, with Brighton, it's tough playing with 10 men. But you see, Brighton got a point out of it. Where Burnley, now, how much more time are they going to give company? How many games can he afford to lose now? That sort of way. Everyone's looking at him going, how is he still in the job? But listen, for the new manager, Palace, great win at home, 3 points, 3 goals, clean sheet, and you can't play any more than that,
I have to say, I looked at Palace there the other day. I seen the highlights and all, and it looked like the shackles were off. They were playing with a freedom and everything and stuff like that. And some of their play was absolutely electric as well. So fair play to them. In terms of company, I don't know. I just it's a real conundrum, isn't it? Because he probably at this stage has the worst record in the league, I'd say.
Without a doubt,
by far, between him and Sheffield United, but really, really.
What do you and the lads in the chat think? Do you think this Burnley team is worse than the Derby team from, was it 07-08, I think?
It's not far off it, in fairness. It's not far off it. And, I don't know, maybe I can't put my finger on it. For me, I've been calling for company to be shot out the door now for a while at this stage, Aaron's of the opinion they should stick with him. And even if they go down, they should stick with him. I think that was his thinking, that like it's a bit of a project there or whatever it is. But I think he should be gone.
Without a doubt.
I
Who
mean,
have you got this weekend?
how many times do I talk about Liverpool and the struggles that we have at times, and I talk about points over performance?
Yeah.
And with Burnley, I like the idea of sticking to your philosophy of football that got you to the dance. But if it's not producing results and it's not producing points,
forget.
Gotta change it up. Change it up. You gotta
100%.
do something that makes it different, so real difficult for them at the moment,
They are playing Bournemouth at home on Sunday at 1:00. That'd be a massive game for them.
They lose that, he should be gone.
Without a doubt.
That, he should be gone. They're gonna need some because they're leaving it too late now,
Exactly.
Vincent Company is really having a bad season. Romeo and Kenobi, he isn't this. And you know something? The thing about it is, there's a lot to be said for sticking to your principles of football and what got you promoted and stuff like that. But I think when you come up after being promoted, I think you have to have a different mindset.
You have to come up with a plan B of how to stay in the Premier League at this stage of the season. We've seen it happen. I know we slag him all the time. Big Sam, he knows how to stay out in the league and stay out of the Championship. Sean Dyche had done it so many times at Burnley over the years. Tony Pulis with Stoke years ago. They know how to do it. It's not about, like you said, sticking to your principles is one thing, but it gets to the stage where you're like, right, panic stations. Let's go a different route. Let's just try to stay in here as long as we can. And unfortunately, it's not happening for them. And I think the owners have left it a little bit too late, to be honest.
Yeah, I was convinced they should have pressed the button. Probably. I was calling it for it actually, and wasn't there an international break in November?
Yeah, it's starting November.
That's when I was calling for it, to give them time and stuff like that. Gakpo challenge was a complete ankle breaker. The Gakpo challenge was a Gakpo challenge, complete ankle breaker. Do you mean the Caicedo challenge on Gravenberch? I think that's what you're talking about. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Willis is in, all right, Will, all right, boys, still hanging here. Never drinking again, Marky. You look great. There you go.
Will, you look even better, Will. Man. Will, Thanks, I am.
Well, I am, absolutely. Yes, it's close. Absolutely close. Similar. I think Burnley expected relegation fight, and that's why they have kept company so far. Yeah, but are they even in a relegation fight?
There's no fight.
I don't even know if they're in there is no fight in that. That's the problem. The problem is you're not saying anything. Nottingham Forest ending Broad Hag on Wednesday night. Oh, I tell you, never misses a chance.
No,
Vincent Company has now
change.
He's thrown everything and trying to see if it sticks. Yeah, he is, but you can see, I mean, you seen them last year in the Championship. They were playing amazing football and stuff like that. But obviously, it's a different level when you come up and stuff like that. But absolutely. Hey, just looking forward to watching City demolish United on Sunday. Just sticking in there a little bit further. The Willis Noilish, you always look $1 million. Thank you, baby. Appreciate that. And Ian is in. Mark, do you sell trophy plaques? No.
I don't sell trophy plaques, but I can get my hands on I have contacts, so if you ever need anything, just give me a shout. And by the way, for Willis, I seen Willis was on the Lewis earlier on around Grange Gorman. Did you see that?
Oh, him and Kane and Ric Flair. We'll send it on to you later, Will, that video. Ric Flair and Kane on the Lewis having a wrestling match. Rounds in. Well, how are you getting on, lads?
Deedles, how are you? Can we just say a very big happy birthday to Ron? It was his birthday yesterday. He was out celebrating a minute last night, so he's probably only awake now at this stage, I'd say.
Happy 21st.
22nd, sorry, now. He's 22 now, yeah.
22, was it?
Yeah.
Keith said Liverpool must have the worst injury record at the moment. Absolutely. 100%. Let's talk about the next game. Manchester United 1, Fulham 2. Bassey with a lovely goal on 65. Keeper had no chance. Maguire steps up on 89 with the equaliser. But out of nowhere, Alex Iwobi Kenobi comes up with 90 plus 7. What a winner. And we spoke about this. This had shades for me of the previous week's game where we spoke about Bruno not taking the ball into the corner, game management and all that kind of thing. And it didn't bite you that day. We know that, what's his name? Barkley one off the bar.
Mm,
Had
the
a
header, yeah.
chance, and you were lucky to get away with it. But this week you didn't get away with it,
Mm.
and Fulham went away with the points. First time I think in 21 years.
Yeah,
Last
seen
time
that, yeah.
apparently Chris Coleman was in charge of Fulham. Apparently, the last
And
time they beat us at Old Trafford, I heard.
you know, it's I've seen the way we started. Fulham started so bright. Marcus
Yeah,
Rashford, you know, when he's starting up front, he doesn't want to know because he's not playing off his preferred, you know, left hand side or whatever. They were walking through our midfield. Our midfield, apart from Moynier, was non-existent, and it was kind of like that against Luton as well, you know. I right, Dallow hit the post all right. We had one or two chances in the first half, but I think on the overall scheme of things, Fulham deserved their lead in the second half. You know, it was a good finish by Fulham. I think they sign him from Ajax, if I'm not mistaken. I think he came via Rangers, Ajax, and then to Fulham. Good player. Um, and then obviously we equalised in the 89th minute. And to be honest with you, I think if we had taken a point off them, it probably would have been a travesty because I think Fulham deserved the full 3 points, if I'm being honest with you,
yeah,
for their overall balance of play and stuff like that. Iwobi was a good finish. Took Dallow, and I think was it Moynier went one way and he cut back in and he hit it into the bottom corner. But like I said, I think if we had taken a point, it would have been a travesty. And you know, we've done that against a few teams like Wolves and all this season. We've robbed them of points in Old Trafford, and I think it was a well deserved. Listen, hands in the air. I think it was a well deserved win for Fulham, and you know we have to really take a look at ourselves. When you look at it this season, we're only beating, like when we are winning, we're only winning by the odd goal. You know, hence why our I think, is it 0 still,
no, I think you
or is
you
it
brought
plus
it up a
one
bit,
or
didn't you?
two or something? It's not great, like, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, and we're only winning
Actually,
by.
it's back to zero.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's
See,
back to zero.
yeah,
There you
I
go.
was right.
Yeah,
So yeah, no, it was we're only winning by the odd goal here and there, and again, I think Bruno was a disgrace. To see the video going around social media and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um, he's back. He's, well, not that he's back. He's always been at it, you know, giving out the referees when it's not going our way. And I've always said about him. I remember against in the Europa League final that time, and you know, obviously Harry Maguire was injured or suspended or whatever it was, and Bruno was captain, and he spent the whole 90 minutes just chasing the referee giving out. And I was like, I said to my dad, if he put as much effort into the actual game as he does to giving out to the referee, he'd actually play decent. But I thought Rashford and Bruno were a disgrace to the jersey on Saturday, if I'm being honest. But like I said, a good win, fair play to Fulham, and it was well deserved by them.
Well, there's some interesting developments coming out of United that we'll talk about in a little bit that I mentioned to you, and I tell you, a lot of these boys are not going to be getting away with that anymore because it's an absolute disgrace
Hundred
to think
percent.
that you can go out there and that you're the guy that they look to, Marcus Rashford, Mr. Man United, and Bruno being the captain, and they're the guys that are coming up short. And what bugged me even more was Bruno having a go down off Garnacho, taking
I
the
know, yeah,
opportunity to go in on the kid when
yeah,
his own performance was a disgrace.
yeah.
If it was me on the pitch, I would have absolutely torn him asunder. He
He
would have
actually
been
did that
toast.
against Luton. He had a go at Garnacho a few times against Luton as well, and you're
Yeah,
looking at him going, "How can you even attempt to do that on someone else? Like, look at yourself in the mirror, man."
yeah. Next up, then Bournemouth nil, Man City 1. Bournemouth kind of huffed and puffed. Solanke with a couple of chances, tried to play well. Man City as well, creating a few chances, but
Mm.
still look a little bit blunt, but still getting the job done.
And
Foden again, cropping up at the goal on 24.
isn't it mad to think that, you know, at the start of the season he wasn't getting into the team, and now he's probably the first name on the team sheet week in, week out, Phil Foden. I have to give credit to Bournemouth. I thought their second half performance was excellent. I thought
Mm,
they really put it up to City in the second half, and the testament to that was City started trying to waste time in the 87th, 88th minute, you know, because they found it hard getting out of their half and trying. Again, as well, another player that doesn't get talked about much. Ederson, I thought he pulled off some world class saves as well. You know,
yeah.
and you can often forget that he's, you know, there. You know, because they're so good at going forward. Obviously, Haaland missing that chance in the first half, but like I said, fair play to Bournemouth. They really, really, really pulled off a good second half performance, and probably were unlucky not to get a draw. To be honest, you know.
Yeah, probably deserve something now. But you always feel with City, they just, it seems to be a season where they just seem to be doing enough each game.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't seem to be setting that and really alight. But I tell you, this weekend's going to be alight because we've got the Manchester Derby, so that should be interesting.
It depends what one of us turns up,
Interesting. But sure, look, would it shock you if United came up and got a result,
Well,
on the back
we've
of
done it.
being so poor,
We have done that over the past. We haven't come into the Manchester Derby, particularly in good form, but we've put up a good performance against them, particularly away from home. So, like, you can always hope, and cling on to that fact. But it's going to be a tough afternoon at the office for us, if considering the last two games and performances.
Absolutely. And there was talk of Maguire might have a slight injury and Varane might have a slight injury. So there's injury concerns there. Rasmus obviously out, which would be a big loss. He would have been relishing the Manchester Derby to have a go, So Romy One Kenobi breaks my heart seeing Casemiro on this terrible Man United team. I wish we could take him home. He probably feels the same. He probably feels the same.
Listen, he's gotten dragged down. Like, he hasn't been great in some of the games this season either, that sort of way. So
yeah. You often find with him though, I think a lot of his performances at time when they dip, it's kind of out of frustration. He just seems to be a frustrated player at times.
You've seen him against Luton, obviously getting that yellow card, and it takes away from his game of diving in and stuff like that. And obviously we had to make the change at half time then, considering that he was lucky that he didn't get a second caution just before half time. So, but yeah, listen, he's. I think Manu has pulled him out of the gutter a few times this season in the last few games as well. He's really been doing a lot of the legwork for him and stuff like that. He came back. Casemiro, obviously, we've seen the pictures of him pre-season coming back with the extra added on weight and stuff like that as well. Yeah. But listen, he's world class. Yeah. He is world class. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I get the feeling when himself and Varane, they're playing like two players who know at the end of the season they're going out the door. That's the feeling I get. They're just playing like I feel that's the way they're playing. Anyway,
well, with Varane there as well, I think obviously there's something happening with him and Ten Hag as well. There's something going on behind the scenes there, so I think that has a bit to play on it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And next up, then, just in time, Del Boy, what is the crack, my friend? Good to see you. Great win for you this weekend.
What's the story, man?
Your timing is absolutely perfect. Arsenal 4, Newcastle 1. Arsenal absolutely blew Newcastle away. Arsenal really playing well at the moment, playing some really good football. And again, the goals being shared around the team, which is really, really important as well, I think.
It was for me, it was another Rolls-Royce performance by them. They, you look at the last 3 games, they scored 15 goals and only conceded 1 in the last 3 games. Like that's unbelievable form. I don't care who you are or who you follow. You have to take your hat off to that. They're scoring a lot from set pieces as well lately. I think Gabriel and Saliba have gotten in on the act over it. I know it was given as an own goal, Gabriel's header or whatever, but they're just, Saka was unbelievable, I thought, against Newcastle. He was running up and down like a jag on that wing, and Martinelli getting in, and I really, really do think they're going to be thereabouts, and they're going to keep the fight up with yourselves and City, But like I said, to score 15 goals in the last 3 games and only concede 1 goal, what a bleeding stat.
And it was important to put on a performance as well on the back of that poor performance against Porto.
Yeah,
so it was really, really important that they came out and they put on a show at the Emirates, and they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, the goals from obviously the OG from Botman, Willock got the goal for Newcastle, and then you had Havertz, Saka, and Kivior, of course, getting the goal as well. So defenders chiming in all the time as well. But a big win for Arsenal, looking really, really good. And it'll be interesting to see how that progresses. Then we move into Sunday. And Sunday we had Wolves versus Sheffield United. Wolves won, Sheffield United 0.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the Super Sunday you'd want to flick on. You were probably trying to dodge it a bit, But listen, I spoke about Gary O'Neill there at the top of the show, and he's done an amazing job with Wolves this season. I think they're in 8th position at the minute, are they? I think it's around 8th or so.
I can tell you now. They are in 9th. West Ham have just gone above them tonight if they keep the result.
I think that they've been fantastic. They really have. I think considering obviously the start they had against us in the very first game, they were robbed of 3 points, and like I said before, VAR has gone against them as well a good bit this season. I know as a Liverpool fan, you've been hard done by as well, but they really have been, and it was a fantastic performance for Sheffield United. Yeah, I think they've got conceded 66 goals or something now, or 65 goals, and I think the one shining light was your man McAtee up front on loan from Man City. I thought he played excellent against Wolves on Sunday, and obviously getting Brewster back. I think Brewster was out for a few games there as well. He makes such a difference. Obviously, you know him from being a former Liverpool player, and but yeah, it's not good for Sheffield United at the minute.
Brewster's one of those players who always looked lively and looked talented without much end
Yeah.
product. That's what I would say about him.
I remember watching him as well for the England under-21s, and I always thought he looked lively, but with the under-21s compared to the Sheffield United team, the quality players around him, he had an under-21 level as well to dig him out of it, and he doesn't have that with Sheffield United,
Yeah, Acer's letting us know 3-1 West Ham. Jared Bowen with a hat-trick. It's
on,
more like what we expect from West Ham, isn't it?
Yeah.
Romy Kenobi, Casemiro was a bit restricted. He is a bit restricted. I think there's a lot of restrictions at United at the moment, to be honest. Acers, Enzo Fernandez reaction to Liverpool supporters taking the piss out of him. Yeah, when he was walking up the steps and the man was going, hard luck, lads.
Yeah.
he was going to have a go there.
He went and got there.
Yeah, he meant to have a go, all right. Right, let's talk about the Carabao Cup final. Just want to get you Jurgen's comments first, and then we'll go into some of the decisions. What we see today is so exceptional. It is easily the most special trophy I've ever won. It's absolutely exceptional. Seeing the faces of these kids, nobody will ever forget this story. It's so difficult. This tonight, if you find the same story with academy players coming on against a top side and still winning it, wow. What was your overall thoughts on the Carabao Cup final?
Yeah, it started obviously if you're a neutral as it was, you're looking at the teams and you're thinking Chelsea's have the edge slightly, that sort of way, considering your injuries and the change you had to make. But I thought he's done really well. Obviously, the offside goal for me, it's black and white. It's offside. There's no doubt in my mind. The lines are there for a reason. How many times have we seen goals? We were talking about Wolves there. Remember Wolves? Craig Dawson had a goal reel out there about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and his toenail was offside. For me, the disallowed goal, the Van Dijk's first goal, I couldn't get my head around it. Like I literally, I know why the decision was given, but I was texting Dave at my cousin yesterday, and I was like, he's not like anywhere getting near Van Dijk. So for me, he wasn't interfering with play. Yes, he's in an offside position. There's no doubt about that. But is he interfering with it was who was it that ran into him?
Colwell,
that was it. Yeah,
Colwell.
He's never getting near Van Dijk or anywhere close to that. You know what I mean? So I thought that wasn't a great decision either. Casado's one. It's a weird one because Harry Maguire could have easily gotten sent off against Fulham, in my opinion, on Saturday afternoon. Wasn't he? I don't think it was even looked at, to be honest. Obviously, because the referee had given the caution, but none of the VAR or the assistants thought that there was a case of endangering the safety of an opponent. Where you see, 24 hours later, Gravenberch getting taken off on the stretcher because of that challenge. So I could see how a red card could have been given for that. To be honest, it wasn't. There
wasn't even a booking. What annoyed me more about it with Caicedo yesterday, and I'm a fan of his. I would have been quite happy to have him at Liverpool, to be honest. But it was the persistent fouling not being checked.
Yeah.
I mean, up till that tackle, he had put in 4 or 5 fouls already.
Yeah.
So when does the whole persistent fouling come in at some stage for a booking and stuff like that? Just to let you know, it's 4-1 West Ham. Emerson just scored for them.
And I don't know if you've seen it on Saturday afternoon, but Wharton of Crystal Palace, I don't know if any of the lads seen it as well, was on a yellow card, and he made a tackle and he took two Burnley players out with one tackle, right? They fell over
Yeah,
like skittles, and he's already on a yellow card, and the referee just waved it on. There was two fouls within one foul there, and he waved it
yeah,
on. So again, it's about consistency and the different referees given. Like I said, I thought Maguire was very lucky to stay on the pitch on Saturday afternoon. I don't know if you've
he
seen
was.
that tackle.
He
You've
was.
seen it, cause yeah,
Definitely. Did you?
and I don't know how it wasn't even looked at.
Yeah, it was just a weird one. It was a kind of a weird weekend as well, where referees were just I don't know, did they get a directive or what it was? I
Yeah,
don't know, because even yesterday, if you looked at the cup final with Chris, what's his name? Chris, what's your man, the ref's name yesterday? Chris something or other. Can't remember.
on Sky Sport. Oh, sorry, just with Cachado as well. Before we move on as well, I don't think he's the same player that they signed from Brighton. Do you? Do you see that? Like,
Well, in fairness to the move to Chelsea, okay, you're stepping up into what we would regard as a more pressure situation, even though within the league, how good Brighton are doing compared to Chelsea and all that kind
mm,
of stuff. You take that into account, but he's playing in a very different system as well,
he,
and I don't know. When I watched him play at Brighton, I seen him around players like McAllister and stuff like that, and they played in a kind of a pivot and they complemented each other. I don't know whether Enzo complements him because he doesn't necessarily play in a pivot. I find sometimes when they're both playing, he's kind of the deep line guy, and Enzo becomes more of an eight than a
mm,
kind of a double six pivot, if you like.
mm,
And I've just noticed that when they're playing, sometimes Enzo is pushing so far forward, he leaves Cachado a little bit isolated, and then what happens is you can kind of overrun him,
yeah,
because
yeah,
and he gets kind of caught that way. And that's when you see him under pressure, and then he gets reckless, and that's when he's giving away these fouls and
yes,
tackles and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that. You know what I mean? But I seen Clattenburg came out today actually, and he said that the Van Dijk goal was definitely a goal. He said it's
Did he
100%
say
a
that?
goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came out today and said that. But I did look at Cachado sitting on the ground after the game yesterday, and he looked a broken man. He really
Mm.
looked a broken man. And the funny thing about it is the guy who was trying to console him was Lavia, which isn't a great combination either, really, is it? Because I'm sure both are looking at their moves, going, "What have we done?"
What have we done
So,
here?
but
Yeah.
very, very interesting. Just as you know, 74 minutes gone, West Ham 4, Brentford 1. Thomas Frank under more pressure again. I meant to ask you during the Newcastle review, Eddie Howe under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's strange. Sorry, Coventry have gone
Yeah.
4-0 up there. It's a strange one because did you see the press conference as well when the journalist asked him about the lads going to the darts, and it didn't look like he had a clue that they'd gone and stuff like that, Um, there is a lot of pressure. We spoke about it last week or the week before about the knock-on effect, the injuries and the extra gains in the Champions League it had, mentally and physically as well, and it's all caught up with them now. And I think the Karius started in goal and stuff. I don't know what was going on with the Dubravnik. Is he injured or whatever? But obviously they've been missing Pope this season.
Yeah.
Um, who he's a stalwart there. He's such physically and mentally he's a big presence in that team. When you take him out of it, it's a chink out of the armor, and it gets weaker then. And obviously the stuff that's happened with Trippier, is he staying, is he not, the arguments with the fans, and it's just been a tough season for him. And I think if you're a Newcastle fan, fair enough, the nights in St James's Park under the Lights Champions League have been great and all, but do you take that and then risk the rest of the season, or would you rather, having not had that and then go on and do better, maybe even win a trophy? Because I think everyone would have probably thought they would might have went on and done something in the Carabao Cup. No disrespect to the two teams that were in the final and stuff
Yeah.
yesterday. You both deserve to be there, but at the start, even when they knocked themselves out and stuff, people were thinking they could go on and actually win it. But I
I
think
think
he's on a
injuries. I think the injury situation didn't help them at all. I think they started out really well. Then they
yeah,
got the injuries. They lost Harvey
and,
Barnes and a number of players. And our
like
front line always has that element of injury. Isaac, for all
and
his
Callum
brilliance
Wilson
and a
as
really
well.
good front man, he's kind of a little bit light for the Premier League when you see him. Wilson tends to pick up injuries. Willock has been out. Number of players have been out. Harvey Barnes went out as well.
Yeah.
So like they had lost a lot of players, and then obviously the Tonali stuff with the betting and all that didn't help either. And he was kind of their marquee signing in the summer and stuff like that. And he wasn't setting the world alight either, but he was reasonable. You know what I mean? But it left Howe in a situation, as we said last week, where for about 6-7 weeks, he had to play with the same 11, basically, and obviously these guys are feeling it now, this will catch up on you,
I do think, though, I think the owners will probably look at it and say, right, we will give him to the end of the season. I can't see them pulling the trigger before the end of the season. They're probably looking now and during the summer, and well, they could be making plans as we speak, to kind of get a replacement in. But I can't see, like I said, I can't see him being there next season, but I can't see him getting the sack before the end of this season.
Well, the issue then for Newcastle is, I mean, if they don't end up with European football, they're going to have FFP issues, I'd imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
They're probably relying on that income from European football.
And we spoke about this a few weeks ago, because who are they going to sell? Like, where's their assets?
Yeah,
you're finding it hard to pick out a few players there that you get 30, 40 million a piece for,
Well, you probably would with the Saudi links.
Possibly.
They can pay anyone after the Saudi link and say, yeah, he went for 40 million. Just saying. Just putting it out there. Let's not say it doesn't happen. It does happen.
That's it. 5-0 Coventry, because 91st minute, they just have to score on a 5th.
Just to let Acers know, Acers, it was nothing to do with the jersey pull. It was Endo from an offside position moving into the block. There was absolutely nothing. Jersey pulls are something that happens in loads.
But even Endo standing there and your man running into him, how many times a week do we see that in the Premier League from set pieces?
Well, what I've said here, and I've said it before, lots of teams at the high end of the Premier League have brought in corners and free kick specialists who come in and train the lads. And I've also done it as well, coaching down below in Greystones United. One thing I always do is I always deploy on a corner 2 blockers. And that's an absolute tactic. And if you go back over the Premier League and you look over this season, look at how many goals have come from corners where players have been blocked to open up the space. It happens every single weekend. So to turn around and go now that lads can't block and stuff like that is absolutely, because that's part of the religion of corner kicks and set pieces. So it's crazy. Romy Range top bowling making Chelsea the new LA Dodgers. Yeah, absolutely. 100 million for Cachedo's the biggest rip off in football. He's about 40 to 50 million, if even. I think Brighton paid 3.5 million for
him. Yeah,
crazy.
Brighton have done well like that over we talked about the likes of McAllister and different players that they saw. Like, they've done really well.
Yeah, but you look at McAllister, World Cup winner, and we got him for what, 33, I think, or 35 million.
30, I think it was 35 or something like that.
35 million, that's the price that it should be, you know what I mean? And it's just, to pay that type of money was absolutely crazy. Talk to me. We went through the decisions there and stuff like that, and also we're all good on that. Still 4-1, 80th minute. Let me catch up here. Where my dad's Cachedo should have seen red. I'm not too sure. I think
it's one of those articles I was going to say.
Not to spoil it, weren't they? They were trying not to spoil the final as well.
It is one of those we have seen them given in the past, and if the referee had issued a red, I don't think anyone would have had any complaints about it. Considering you've seen the replays and stuff like that, so I have seen them given.
Well, the replays are always more horrific as well, aren't they? When you look at them and stuff like that. From watching Chelsea, they have no playing style. It's like a kickabout in the streets. Yeah, well, you see, what they've done is they've gone out. They've gone out and they've spent an awful lot of money on a lot of young players and stuff like that. But I don't think they had a philosophy. I don't think, even for Poch, for all the positive stuff he does and stuff like that as well, I don't even know what his philosophy is.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, and he doesn't know either, obviously, because if you look at the amount of changes he made, Ian has spoke to me a million times about, you have players come on and they play really well one week and the next week they're dropped to the bench. Mudryk, we've seen it with Mudryk, we've seen it with Sterling, we've seen it with a number of players. Even Jackson, when he's gone out and he scored a few goals or a couple of assists and stuff like that, the next week, bang, he's on the bench. So I don't think even Poch knows himself what he's doing, and I think that's the big problem there this year. And if you look at the team, they haven't had really a settled team except over the last
No.
4 to 5 weeks. So that
And
says it all.
he has tried to shoehorn players into positions, that they're not comfortable playing with either as well, which is always a recipe for disaster.
That Brentford versus Chelsea game is pivotal as well, because you could say that could be the battle of the managers, really, because Brentford are in serious trouble as well.
Definitely.
And I'm a fan of Thomas Frank, but Brentford just have not been doing it. I think Howell's run his course, like we saying at Bournemouth. It's nice for a while, then goes stale. Yeah, I spoke about this with Darren Romy Kenobi as well. When Eddie Howe went in there first, he's a breath of fresh air. He's a really good man manager. He's a very good coach and stuff like that. But he'll only bring you to a certain level. And then when you really want to step into that top four and become a force in the Premier League or in Europe and stuff like that, you're gonna need someone of a much higher quality. Eddie Howe is not going to deliver that. That's what I believe anyway. You certainly would take Bruno Guimaraes. No, Bruno Guimaraes. No, Market.
I was just going to say that you can take him. You can take him.
Market definitely sends you the other Bruno. That's for sure, without a doubt. Want to talk about Man United? Some interesting stuff coming out today. Of course, Omar Barada is in there now after coming in from Man City. But Sir Jim Ratcliffe has put some new demands on this CEO in terms of getting tough on these high earners. And apparently they want to bring in a system where the base salary is never more than 300k. They're not going to break that. Yep. And anything over that, then they're looking for this play performance kind of situation. And I think that's the way it should be. And absolutely. I think even the 300 is too high. I think that should be more like 2, maybe 250, and then everything else should be performance related. Just gone 4-2 there, by the way. I think it was 4-2 there. Just waiting to get an update on who it was. Don't think it was Maupay with a second anyway. Be sure it was Vissa with on the 83rd minute. So 4-2 at the moment. 7 minutes to go. So should be an interesting 7 minutes. Brentford would grab another one. Who knows what happens?
Definitely.
But yeah, so what you thinking on this long overdue kind of thing when you see the Rashfords and the Brunos of this world?
Big time. I agree with you as well. Probably 2 to 250 max on it. Like, it's funny, on Saturday there on my Facebook memories, a rant that I had years ago came back, and it was very similar to that. Wayne Rooney obviously didn't have a good game and whatever. Don't even know who it was against, but I said that he should hand back his check of 200 and whatever 1,000 a week it was to the club after that performance. And I said these players should be paid a play, performance based wages and stuff like that. And I think that's gone back a good few years. I wrote that post and stuff, but I definitely agree with it. I think, you look at Marcus Rashford over this season and Bruno, the two lads we were just talking about, they know. They know it doesn't matter how they play. They're coming away with that 350 at the end of the week, right? 350,000 euro a week. We can only bleeding dream of having. There's bleeding doctors and nurses aren't even getting a bleeding sniff of that are saving people's lives, and they go out on a pitch and have strops and make an absolute show themselves. These are adults. These are bleeding grown men that we're talking about. Marcus Rashford has come through the academy of Manchester United. He should be playing for the badge, obviously picking up a wage at the not a wage like what he's on at the minute, but he's still a wage. But I totally agree with Sir Jim, and I think he's come in with all these ideas now, and I'm hoping that they'll come into place sooner rather than later, because things really need to change at that club. And
I personally think, looking from the outside in as a neutral when it comes to United, I think in order for a manager to go in there, like let's suppose Ten Hag goes, I don't think it matters who you bring in there. I don't matter whether it's the Serbia or whoever it is. I think in order to fix that situation at Man United, I think the likes of Rashford and Bruno have to go. I think they have to go. I think you need to clear the decks on that player power crap and all that kind of stuff that goes on in there in that locker room. And I think to give a manager a fair shout where he is the guy. Where he is the guy. You're seeing it with Fergie. Fergie got rid of much bigger players than Marcus Rashford and Bruno.
Big time.
And when it was time to do it and stuff like that, you look at Beckham went, Stam went, all these different players, Mark Hughes,
Incy.
Absolutely. He sent players out the door when it was time, when they weren't on the line. And I think
And
I think the Rashford and the Bruno project, I think, has run its course at this stage. And I think Ratcliffe, I think, knows that as well. You put the Zerbi in there as well. What happens? You get a little bit of bump for a few months, and then all of a sudden these will be thrown a strap again. And,
exactly.
there'll be no respect
They're
for
too
him.
comfortable there, cuz they're too comfortable, We've seen it. Remember, I think Jesus must have been before Christmas. Me and you sat here and talked about Michael Essien on the Talksport interview that he did. Remember
Yeah.
about saying about the player power at Chelsea and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a cancer in football, that a manager's there to manage the club. The players are there to play. It's, there's too much politics in football. They're paid to play football. They're not paid to try to manage the club from within, the dressing room. It's fair enough if you're doing it in a positive way for on the pitch and, you're helping the younger lads out and stuff like that. That's grand. That's completely fine to do, but not trying to do the manager's job just because you're trying to get rid of him. That's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, absolutely. And I never understand that as well. Like even with Rashford, where you go out there and you put him central of the attack, he just has a strap over it. There's a strap over it, you know what I mean? You're there going, there's kids sitting in that stand there now that would donate a limb to have the opportunity to put on a jersey for Man United and walk out there, you know what I mean? And it's absolutely crazy. But
he's trying to get a bleeding Tesla started if there's no battery and he just doesn't want to fucking
but I really do believe the only fix there is to clear that situation out
100%.
And really give the manager coming in then every chance to put his stamp on the team and stuff like that. I'm sure Ratcliffe and the boys, they're not foolish. They don't suffer fools gladly either.
No.
And by putting out things like this, when I read that straight away, I think Bruno, I think Maguire, I think Rashford, I think these guys, these high earners that are in there earning a big wedge. Now, in fairness to Maguire's been doing all right in recent times and stuff
he has,
that.
Yeah.
But is he the solution? Probably not.
And you look at the likes of Mania, who's come through the academy and through the system, and he's in there and he's playing for the badge, and he's probably on, let's say, 30 grand a week or something like that at the minute, till he gets a bigger contract. But he's the one playing his heart and soul out. And these lads are on.
This is why they don't like it. It's the same with Garnacho. Garnacho's in there, he's probably on buttons as well. And this is why the likes of Bruno and Rashford don't like this. Rasmus has come in as well. And they don't like this. This is a threat to them. And that's why there's a lot of this finger pointing and all this kind of thing that goes on. I did say that Modric goal last night, Romy Kenobi. What do we say about Modric? What can we say? Broke my heart enough times anyway. So
I didn't say it was a good goal,
Cracker. I mean,
he's just like a bleeding Cadillac, and he just pure class.
He's like wine.
Never ages.
Rashford is definitely gone after the Euros in the summer. Interesting to see. That's a good idea from Jim Ratcliffe. Lay down the hammer, because for too long players at Manchester United have been lazy and just cashing in without a care. Absolutely, 100%.
We've seen it with Paul Pogba for long enough.
Big up Henry. How's the head after the celebrations yesterday? Hi Mark. Hi chat.
Yeah, Henry, buddy, all right.
United badly needs to get rid of the entire. Well, you can't get rid of the entire squad. I mean, there's plenty of talent in there. Plenty of talent in there. I could see United going to the French league for recruitment. Well, it makes sense with the connections, doesn't it?
Yeah,
just came in to give you really appreciate that as always, my friend. Dan Ashworth with his eye for talent at reasonable prices will be a breath of fresh air for Manchester United. Absolutely, and that's what it's all about. It's all about proper scouting, isn't it? Not just going out like you see it at Chelsea, just going out buying the next name. They went through that, and it was a disaster as well, So, but it'll be interesting to see some of the changes they're bringing in there at United and how they go and stuff like that. And all going to be interesting.
It's mad. Like we bought bleeding Anthony, thinking he was this bleeding Ferrari player, and we get a bleeding Skoda.
There's going to be so much more that's going to come out about that in the future, isn't it? When Ten Hag is gone and stuff like that. That to me is just as shady as hell.
100%.
Let's talk about Everton. Everton deduction reduced to 6 points. In all the circumstances, including relevant mitigating and aggravating factors, the appeal board considers that a 6-point immediate points deduction is appropriate and proportionate in that it is a sanction both necessary and sufficient to achieve the aims of the profitability and sustainability rules. That's the Independent Appeals Board. That's their statement about Everton today, getting reduced, their 10-point deduction reduced to 6, getting 4 points back, basically, if you like.
And
what was you thinking of this?
I know that Everton. I was Dave Malloy, one of the lads that works with on, massive Everton fan, and yeah, I'd agree with you there, Lidls. And he was telling me like, and which I spoke about this on before, when it happened, and even before the investigation had started way back, Everton had worked alongside the FA. They worked every single bit. They went down, and like I said, that season they had no money to spend. They got Ashley Young, a 38-year-old, in on a free to work alongside, not spending, and work alongside with them, you know. And they've done all this. Yes, listen, they broke the rules. They've paid for it, but not only that, they have worked alongside the FA, where you see certain other teams, two in particular in the league, that haven't done that. They haven't been punished. So I do feel it's right that Everton get 4 points back. It obviously moves them up the table. It brings Luton down into the relegation zone, who have been playing pretty well, and who we've been admiring their style of football over the last few weeks. But I think I do think it's fair that they get the 4 points back, like I said, because I know for a fact they've been working alongside the FA for the last few years since this investigation has started.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the problem that they're facing as well is there's another potential deduction coming down the pan them and Forest, isn't there?
For
And then, of course, we have the whole
themselves and
Man
Forest.
City thing hanging at the moment as well.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see what comes out of that. What is going on with the Everton takeover? Is it happening? I don't think that 777 is going to happen. It's very shady, that situation with Sevilla. Doesn't make for really good reading when you delve down into it. And you look at the Premier League, the fit and proper process. That normally takes 8 to 12 weeks, I think. And this has been going on for months now. So what I reckon's happening there is they don't want to distance themselves for it. But I think if they can remain in the Premier League and don't end up getting relegated, I think you'll probably find a different takeover coming in, especially with the stadium coming online as well and stuff like that. So that's what I think will happen. But personally, if it was me, I wouldn't be touching 777, to be honest. Just too much baggage there, as I would say. Second charge to be revealed, absolutely, Acers, and that's
exactly,
what's hanging over them. I think maybe the second charge might be another 6 points or something like that, so maybe it's 12. So if you get 12 for 2, they'd probably be all right with that, because I think if they can play and find a bit of form as they did when they got the first points deduction and stuff like that, it might be an opportunity for them to escape.
I know they with themselves and Forest, but when is the light going to be shone upon a few other teams in the league?
Yeah, I think there's no real update on that, the Man City situation anyway. I did hear someone saying, I read a report, was it last week, that apparently some information is due to come out in the next. I think I was listening to Big Steve, actually. He's a Man City fan, and he was doing a show, I think, with Saeed, and he mentioned that some information would be coming out within the next 6 weeks. Now, he didn't allude to what it is, but what he did say is that a lot of people are going to be shocked and a lot of apologies will have to be issued. Now, I don't know what that means.
Okay.
But we shall wait and see. But it was interesting, all right. Let's talk FA Cup coming up this week. Interesting. FA Cup. There was a conversation I was listening to it on TalkSport this morning with Jim White and Simon Jordan, and Martin O'Neill was on as well, and they were talking about the are we in danger of losing the League Cup with the FA Cup kind of moving into midweek games now? Are we devaluing the FA Cup? What's your thoughts on that?
It doesn't feel like the FA Cup when it's midweek for me. It feels like, obviously, when you look at it, even the Coventry Maidstone on tonight, you almost feel like it's a replay, that sort of way.
Yeah.
Because it's on during the week. I think, we spoke about this. I can't remember when was it. A good few weeks ago. We were having a conversation and we were talking about the FA Cup final, and I think everyone in the chat will remember the old days of watching BBC, watching the teams having their breakfast in the hotel, and the helicopter over above, watching the bus going down to Wembley, and United or Liverpool would release a song for the FA Cup and it'd be in the charts and this, that, and the other. There was all this around it, and it felt like a whole day, a celebration, and kind of what the Super Bowl is to the Americans and all. It keeps losing that kind of magic and that touch, doesn't it? And this is another factor to that, is this kind of midweek game, for the. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of it. I'd rather over the weekend, a Friday to a Monday sort of thing. And
I think what's happened with a lot of the football federations is they've backed themselves into a corner now because there is so many fixtures,
Exactly.
international tournaments, everything else that's going on.
And
It's
they're trying to fit the
absolutely
mini
killing
winter
things.
break in as well, cause now to accommodate
Yeah,
the other leagues having it as well and stuff, you know.
yeah. I don't know. For me, it's a kind of a weird one, and I really do love the FA Cup. Like even yesterday, I mentioned on the reaction to the match yesterday, the disrespect for the League Cup, and it's a great day out. It's
Mm,
Wembley. Look at those Liverpool fans yesterday in the stand, singing their hearts out,
yeah.
trying to get these young lads over the line, trying to suck the ball
Excuse me.
into the net and all. And it was just amazing to hear them singing, and the scarves are going and all. Try and tell one of those guys yesterday, or any Liverpool fan yesterday, or even Chelsea fan, that the League Cup isn't a big deal. It
Yeah,
is a big
yeah,
deal. And it's
yeah.
same with the FA Cup. And I think the more of these moves that they make to try and accommodate it, I think the more it devalues it all the time and stuff
Big
like
time.
that. And I think it's, these are things that are kind of sacred in football. It's the stuff that we grew up
Yeah.
on and stuff that the more they touch it, the more they damage it. We spoke a few weeks ago about blue cards and sin bins and all. It's absolute
Oh,
nonsense. You know what I mean?
joke.
So let's start and stick out for you in this that you're looking at. Obviously, we're
Um,
going to have a tough one against Southampton, doing really, really well
yeah,
in the
yeah.
championship.
I
I've
I
slid a
watched.
little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I watched Leicester there on Friday night against Leeds. They didn't play very well at all, to be honest. They came off the back of a good win against Stoke midweek, in which Stoke haven't been great. They just went into the relegation zone over the weekend. Their new manager Michael Schumacher hasn't really brought that kind of that oomph of a or sprinkle of magic that a new manager has. But
mm,
Leicester, I'd expect a home win there against Bournemouth, to be honest. The way Bournemouth I've seen playing against City, and I've seen them playing a few times this season. Depends what team they're going to put out, but I think they'll put a strong team out, get a home win against Leicester, and into the next round.
yeah,
Um,
I don't
sorry,
know.
because I was going to say, do you think Blackburn Newcastle will be interesting? Blackburn, they've come off the back of a draw against Norwich last week, and I think they drew the week before against Preston.
Tough
Again,
place to go as well for a midweek cup game,
yeah.
and
So
coming off the back of a hiding from Arsenal.
Exactly. So
You know,
that could be interesting because Blackburn be well up for that. You know, they've some good players there, um, that can call Gallagher and all. He caused a bit of problems for the Newcastle defense and stuff. But like I said, their last win as well was against Stoke there a few weeks ago, 2 or 3-1, I think it was. So
mm,
they've come off the back of two draws, but they've looked lively in those two draws. So it wouldn't surprise me if you seen a home win there. You know,
yeah, full time at West Ham. West Ham 4, Brentford 2. More
14.
pressure on Thomas Frank, slightly
Mm,
easing for David Moyes.
yeah,
But let's see what happens there.
for now.
The intriguing one for me at the moment, obviously, us versus Southampton's interesting. I don't know who we're going to play as the 11,
Mm,
so it'll be interesting to see the lineups for that. But I tell you what's going to be a good one. Chelsea Leeds
yeah,
is going to
yeah.
be a really good game.
That will.
Leeds flying high at the moment.
Yeah, like I said, watching on Friday night did a good win. It's a pity it's not in Ellen Road. It'd make it a little bit more interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think one of the other good games be Wolves and Brighton. I think
Yes.
Wolves and Brighton be a very
Absolutely.
good game now, to be honest. And obviously yourselves and Forest, that's going to be a very, very tricky game for ourselves. You know.
Yeah. Mm.
I don't know. That could possibly be an upset.
Right. Give it your picks. That's one down, Trouble. You're going Bournemouth.
I'm going Bournemouth, Blackburn, City.
Yeah.
I don't wanna. I don't wanna. I'll go. I'm
You have to go
going.
United. You're a United man.
Yeah,
You can't
I'm
go
gonna
against
go
United.
United. I'll go with me heart over me head in that one. I'm gonna go Wolves. Just about Wolves. I think that's gonna be a really really decent end to end game as well. You know. Um. What was it? Did he not get the sack? No.
Is he gone? Is he?
I thought. I'm nearly sure he got the sack. I could be wrong. John Donald.
Check
Um.
that. I wasn't sure whether he did or not. Um,
And who else have we got? Liverpool. Yeah, I expect Liverpool, and I think.
who
Um.
did you pick with Wolves and Brighton?
I've gone Wolves just
Oh,
about home advantage. Yeah, just about. I think that's going to be a really tight game.
and
Liverpool.
the bet killer down the bottom. You going Chelsea or
Oh,
Leeds?
I'm gonna go Chelsea. Leeds are gonna make it very, very difficult for them.
See, I think he's going to meddle with the team again. He's going to change
Yeah,
that team for the cup
could
game,
do actually. Yeah,
and I think that's going to be the downfall there.
yeah. No, he
Did,
got
did you
sacked.
notice the big? Did you notice the big deal they made of it yesterday as well, where they were walking up to get the medals, the runners up,
Yeah, yeah,
and it
yeah.
looked like Potch walked right by Bowley and
Boy,
didn't shake
yeah.
his hand and stuff like that.
Because
Yeah,
he
so
went to whoever was beside him and he had the two little kids then, whoever, and he shook his hand. Yeah, John Dahl Thompson got
yeah,
sacked
he
by
said, "Oh yeah,"
Blackburn.
he says, "Oh yeah, I left my badge." Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
interesting.
but yeah, so yeah, Bournemouth, Blackburn, City, ourselves, Wolves, Liverpool, Chelsea.
Interesting. We'll keep an eye on them during the week. Then should be interesting. It's mad the amount of football coming at us, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good in a way as well, and then League of Ireland as well.
Yeah. What'd you make of this? Gary Neville described Chelsea as blue £1 billion bottle jobs as they were beaten in the Carabao Cup final, but an injury hit Liverpool. In extra time, it's been Klopp's kids against the blue £1 billion bottle jobs, said Neville.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I thought it was fucking funny.
Is it fair or is it harsh?
I think it's fair, to be honest. Like, no offense to you, but like I said, from the outside looking in, he's probably there for the taking yesterday, considering the injuries and the the players that they listen. Just because they're £1 billion players, doesn't make them anyone different to the next man. Only there's a price that was paid for them. It doesn't. They haven't changed completely. Like we talk about Caicedo and stuff like that. His mentality, his fitness hasn't changed since he was bought from Brighton. That sort of way.
Yeah, I think I described it. I think bottle jobs is kind of a little bit unfair because I think if you look at the game over the 90 minutes, I think we really tired out in the last 15 of the 90, and Chelsea were in a strong position and could have really nicked it. I think it was a real close game. I think where they're talking about the bottle jobs is in the extra time.
They just
We
sat
expected Chelsea to come out
back.
and they sat back.
Yeah, they
They
were
gave
just
us
trying to
that
get down.
freedom to do our thing with the young kids on and stuff like that as well. But
Do
I
you
think
think as well it was a little kind of dig at like his background of managing Tottenham? Tottenham have always been known as kind of bottle jobs as well, that sort of way.
well, we've spoke about Poch being the serial loser. I mean, he lost
Mm.
the French league with PSG.
Yeah.
let's be
Who does
clear
that?
about this.
Who
You
does
know what I
that?
mean?
Like
Me and you ain't even doing that. You know what I mean? So it's like,
exactly.
yeah, no, it's a tough one, all right. I did think I get the feeling with Neville, he has these things ready. What did you make of the commentary yesterday? Carragher was so pro Chelsea and Neville
Yeah.
was so pro Liverpool.
Liverpool,
It was
yeah,
like
it was
it was
weird.
unbelievable. I was listening to this on the TV and I was going, "What's going on with these guys?
Yeah,
Have
it
they
was.
switched
It was
allegiance
very
or
weird.
what's the story here?" Neville was all over Liverpool yesterday, and Carragher was all over Chelsea, and it was
Yeah.
mad to listen to it. It nearly felt a little bit biased, but the news coming out from Chelsea today is, this evening is if they are to face he faces an uncertain future anyway. It's the nature of
Yeah.
the Chelsea beast, really, isn't it? And I do really believe if Leeds do a job on them on Wednesday, I think it is. I think that he'd be in serious trouble now. They'd probably make a change. But they're looking
Oh,
at Ruben
100%.
Amorim off Sporting, obviously, and he's one that I kind of like as well. So
As well, yeah.
I would hope that doesn't happen. So we have some sort of a list to pick from.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the news coming out this evening. When this news kind of comes out of Chelsea, there's something on the way.
Yeah, there's a little kind of truth behind it or whatever.
Yeah, expressions. Poch yesterday, ripping into Poch. Yeah, absolutely. To have 1 billion squad get beat by kids is the perfect definition of bottle jobs. Liverpool was vulnerable, and Poch still a serial loser. We were vulnerable, and I think the tactics in extra time, I think really didn't look really good. But I think up to the 90 minutes, I think it was back and forth, and we gave as good as we got and stuff like that. But it's a tough one. It's a tough one to take and stuff like that. And I know, look, I've been on the losing end as well, so I know how tough it is. Poch can go home and polish his League One medal. The fraud. Yeah, absolutely. It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. And then Chelsea as well. 6 finals now beaten. So Wembley hasn't been a happy hunting ground for them of recent times either. Shout out to Kelleher doing the business here. He's unbelievable. I spoke about him, David. I spoke about him in the preview, how he's disrespected and it's a disgrace. I still believe he's the best number 2 in the league without a shadow of a doubt. I thought he was absolutely exceptional yesterday. For me, well up there for man of the match. Him, Endo, Virgil. There was plenty of them in the match out there yesterday and stuff like that.
Did you see what someone wrote? Michael Jackson wouldn't have even got near our cage yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Spoilers in, big up spoiler. This where all kitty lovers are at. Chelsea paid £1 billion to get reverse pedoed back. Oh, I love it. Reverse pedoed. Good Lord. Spoiler was at the game yesterday, I think, if I'm right. Yeah, he was there, yeah. And John is in. John Wrestler, good man. Kindergarten Klopp, yeah, it's unbelievable. And I got one yesterday, you know, the 51st State, you know, the movie?
Yeah,
at the 51st State, and it was Klopp on, and it's 51 trophies now or something like that in total for us. So it was pretty cool as well, yeah. Big up, John. Thanks for joining us. Chelsea supporters wants Roman return Bowley out. Imagine, yeah. They take Roman back in a second now. It's Ramsdale is the best number 2 in the Premier League. Stop that now, Acers. You need to stop that right now, because we'll have a conversation about that and you will lose.
I'm just glad it wasn't aimed at United.
Do I need to compare Quavine's medals to Ramsdale's medals? Do I need to do that now to sort that out now? I can sort that out if you want. Ruben Amorim, if he had any respect for his career, he would avoid Chelsea and wait for a better offer. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, that Chelsea project, because the problem is it's not even a managerial project; it's an owner project, and you're just left to your devices. You know what I mean?
He could be a good replacement for Thomas Frank at Brentford. That'd be a good job for him to come in and do.
Yeah. Interesting. Spoiler back in. Yeah, flew back this morning. Unreal. We'll bang up a reel of the trip. Absolutely do. Yeah, I'd say you had a great time. The fans were unbelievable, and I'm sure you were in the middle of it. It was sensational. And look, there's no better feeling to witness something like that. That's a moment that you keep forever. And you see those kids and all that kind of stuff. You cannot talk about it enough.
100%. It doesn't matter who you support. You have to appreciate those moments and
absolutely
and looking at the celebrations. And not, did you see the players and the coaching staff standing in the front of the Liverpool fans singing "You'll Never Walk Alone"? You know, even as a United fan, that would give you goosebumps as well. You know, the emotion from players and staff and fans. You know, great to see.
Yeah, Spider says don't compare medals, just clean sheets, save ratios. Keller shit's all over Ramsdale and those stats too. Absolutely. But for me, at the end of the day, it's all about medals and trophies and stuff like that. Keller is an exceptional goalkeeper and stuff like that. And for a guy who doesn't get near enough game time compared to others, like look at Ramsdale. Ramsdale is used now when Ray is out injured or something like that. He's not even a number 2. You know what I mean? He really isn't, you know what I mean? And that's nothing against Ramsdale. I don't have any problem with Ramsdale at all. But if someone wants to come at me about a number 2 in the league, forget about it. It's Quavine all day. Let's be honest. Managers have no say at Chelsea. Todd Bowley is in charge of everything, and that is not good. It's not good. Well, it's not good unless your owner is Roman. Because if your owner is Roman, then you're getting plenty of money, you're getting plenty of talent and players, and you're somewhat left to manage so long as you win things.
Exactly.
But yeah, now it's going to be interesting to see what way that goes. Any other further thoughts on going on or anything like that? Or that's it for me. That's everything that I have anyway.
Yeah, no. Like I said, it was looking forward to the FA Cup. I know. Listen, it's something to watch during the week. Obviously, I'd prefer it at the weekends, but it'd be good to watch. And then we have League of Ireland back on Friday night after Shells beating Rovers 2-1 last Friday.
I seen that, yeah, and I seen was it Pats and Bows, was it? And the stadium was
Flare. Yeah, the Flare. The Bows fans obviously in the way end at Richmond Park, and the FAI are trying to ban flares from stadiums around the place, so they thought it was a great idea to bring a lot of flares in. And then a Bows fan threw one on the pitch and it hit one of their own players. So the referee pulled everyone off the pitch. And I think they were off the pitch for about 15, 20 minutes before the game could restart. So, yeah, it's gone crazy. But listen, the atmosphere at League of Ireland games, I have to say, lads, if you get a chance, go down. The atmosphere is unbelievable. David, my cousin, Dave O'Mantey in the chat there, he was sending me videos from the Shells and Rovers game the other day. Oh, cause like seriously. Get down to a League of Ireland ground. Doesn't matter who it is. If it's someone close, you get down and watch a game. It's unbelievable.
I seen the post match with Duffer, and
yeah.
I think it was wasn't your woman who does the interviews afterwards and something, and she was saying to him, "So, what do you think of this? Isn't this great?" And all he goes, "It's just another 3 points to me." You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
Dufford's
yeah.
mad, isn't he? He's
The
just
atmosphere in Talca Park looked like it was bouncing. There was
yeah.
Keno, who was on the show a few times as well. He was
Mm.
down there texting me, one of the other lads, Will and all, and like I said, it looked unbelievable. So we'll be getting down to Talca Park soon enough, especially with the new job finishing early and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, I'd say what happens there around me one Kenobi. I'd say it depends on what teams are available and stuff like that. But you could see him easily going in as a number one in that kind of middle bracket of teams and stuff like that. No problem at all.
And I
I
think they
said it
need
before.
as well.
I said on a number of podcasts, even when Allison is injured and stuff like that, when Quavian comes in, I don't have any issue or anxiety at all. It's not a problem. I just get on with it. It's
He
great.
was he needs to get out there and because obviously if he wants to get Gav's playing first team football, albeit with Southampton in the championship, but he's playing week in, week out. Obviously Mark Travers has been sent out on loan. He was with Stoke for a while, but he needs that first team football to try to get that number one jersey off Gav.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not Poch's fault. Bowley is destroying Chelsea with American plasticness. No flags anywhere in the Chelsea end except the small plastic ones the club give them on their seats. Embarrassing club, absolutely. And it was mad when the young players came on and we were in full voice yesterday. Spoiler leave inside this. It went to the Chelsea fans and they were all standing there dumbfounded, didn't know what to do. And the Liverpool fans were just tearing the house down, willing the boys on and stuff like that and all. It was amazing to see even on the telly. Spoiler, if you get a chance, go back and watch it on the telly. It was unbelievable. The Chelsea fans were literally like statues. They couldn't respond at all. We just grounded them out yesterday. It was unbelievable. So fair play to you and every other red that was there. Did a cracking job getting the boys over the line. David O'Mahony, protest against the FAI clowns. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Spoiler, if Kelleher leaves, it's 150% be with a buyback clause over 3 seasons. Yeah, 100%. One of Blackpool's support was assaulted on the weekend, broken eye socket.
And did you see what happened?
No.
He was assaulted by a Blackpool fan. So he was in the stadium in the home section, right? He's a Blackpool fan. He's wearing a black jacket with a white t-shirt underneath it, right? And we're playing Bolton. So he's in there and there's a bit, and someone thinks he's a Bolton fan, and they end up having a fight, and he punches him in the head and breaks his eye socket just because he thinks one of the Blackpool fans thought your man was a Bolton fan in the home end. Just he was wearing a black jacket with a white t-shirt underneath it, like fucking clowns.
So stupid.
Like clowns. So he was attacked
Listen,
by his own group of fans.
you're going to a match with Bolton as well, so it's a poor choice of clothing as well, in fairness now for the Blackpool fan. I know it's no reason for violence whatsoever, but come on now. Come on. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So Blackpool still haven't Bolton still haven't won at Blackpool since 1977, the year Elvis died.
That is mad.
And lads, for the guys in the chat, I asked you during the week, cuz,
yeah,
who was the first ever winner of the Ballon d'Or?
Well, I got it second time round, didn't I?
Yeah,
I
got a second time. So the lads in the chat, without googling or anything like that, dropping into the chat there.
Actually, forgot. I meant to ask him. I meant to do a poll tonight as well on that sports thing you asked me.
Oh yes, yeah.
So
we could do that next week.
We'll do it next week, and you can have a think about it for a week, folks. I'll tell you now in a second. Romy one Kenobi. Girona have a good project going on that Kelleher would sue. We're not selling Kelleher to Girona, and then he just filters back into Man City to take over from Ederson. That ain't happening. No chance of that.
That will happen, all right.
That definitely wouldn't happen. But the question that Marky sent me, what was it again, Marky? Which is the more difficult?
Yeah, I'm just getting up here again, because
Let's see what you think about
rank these achievements by their most difficult. So a 9-dart finish, a hole in one, a perfect hat-trick, or a snooker 147.
So there you go, folks. Have a think about that this week, and we'll do a bit of a poll next week and see what you think. So you got rank these in order of difficulty: a 147 in snooker, a hole in one in golf, a 9-dart finish,
and
or a perfect hat-trick in football. That's what you got to. That's
Yeah,
what you
so
got
we'll
to
leave
think
that
about.
with you,
Let us know. We always want to leave you with a little bit of homework and stuff like that. Don't forget, folks. I will be back tomorrow night. Pro Wrestling Weekly's coming a day early, so tomorrow night 8 o'clock. Because Wednesday we obviously have FA Cup action against Southampton. I'll be back also on Thursday as well with Darren. We'll be doing Thursday Tier Talk, all the usual stuff going into that as well. And then on Friday, I'm probably doing a preview for the Forest game, isn't it? Forest, yeah, coming up. So yeah, we'll give you a preview for that and all the usual team news and tactics and all that good stuff that we do. So until next time, folks, make sure you're following Marky Hogan Elite Trophy Herd as well for all your trophy needs for those special occasions. And also, don't forget to sub to the channel, hit the bell notification button, be notified when we go live, drop a like on the video, all that usual good stuff. I will be back tomorrow evening with Pro Wrestling. Aces, as always, gets the last comment. Elimination Chamber was absolutely amazing pay-per-view. We'll be chatting about it tomorrow night. We'll get down through the Elimination Chamber and we'll be talking about loads of other real good stuff tomorrow night. Until next time, folks, have a safe week as we start out. It is the Monday mashup. Hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you're subbing as well. Check out Spider's channel and all the other channels in there as well. Morris's is normally in there and Henry's and all these other channels. So anyone in there has a channel. Make sure if you're in the chat, drop the links to your channels in the chat if you want and all that kind of stuff. Share the love as always. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Cheers, cuz.
Cheers, cuz.